Good evening, everybody. How you doing there today? My name is Paul Capera. I am the Park and Rec Director for Middletown Township. I do appreciate you coming out tonight on this lovely cold weather. What we're going to do tonight is talk for about 20 minutes from Simone Collins, our consultant on this project, and then we're going to have breakout stations. So there are 4, okay? Before a little housekeeping, if you haven't signed in, we would love you to do that. Feel free to grab an agenda and everything else like that. After the 20 minutes, it's a very casual, ask your questions. We want to know what you want. Part of this thing is it's the most valuable based on the most responses. So tell your friends to fill out the survey. Tell your enemies to fill out the survey. Everybody that loves the garbage cans, everybody that hates them, just have them fill it out, okay? So without further ado, I do want to thank you. I'm going to hand, oh, yes, okay, very good. So part of the Park and Rec Department is, I am the Park and Rec Director. In the back corner is Patrick Graham, the Assistant Park and Rec Director. In the back, under the clock, is Joanne Morelli, one of our program specialists, who is running the Teen Talent Show this Saturday at the Oxford Valley Mall. And running the Zoom room tonight in the back is Nicole Tenner, our newest member, who is also a program specialist. Okay, so I want to, without further ado, I do want to introduce Bill, and I'll let him take himself from there.
Thank you, Paul. I'm not going to spend any time here. Bill Collins, Simone Collins, we're landscape architects and planners. Anita Nardone is our engineer. Toby Levin is our landscape architect, and Derek DeRica is our recreation planner, and I'm going to hand it over to them. We got a short but really good presentation, and then we want to break out to the 4 sessions, and they'll explain everything. Thank you so much for coming. It's really important.
Good evening. I'll echo the thank you. I had a public meeting earlier up in the northern part of the state on Tuesday night. I thought, who would come out in 9 degrees? And there was about 50 people there, so I'm so encouraged, and we really are appreciative. My name is Anita Nardone. I've been with Simone Collins for about 4 years now, and as Bill said, I'm a civil engineer. I'm surrounded by really talented landscape architects and recreation professionals, so I'll be managing the project along with Toby. So you'll see our names. You can email absolutely any of us or call. Again, these presentations and everything related to these meetings will be posted on the Township website. You can go back to every committee meeting, you can go back to every public meeting and find out what was discussed there, the presentations and the notes and any maps that were done. So it's all very, transparent. You can catch yourself up. So this study, a comprehensive recreation, parks, recreation, and open space, greenways and trails, that pretty much covers so much of what you'd ever want to do if you were going to recreate, right, in Middletown Township. So this study is a 2025 will be the date when we finish this up, and it comes after a plan that was done in 2005. We certainly know a lot of things have changed, right, between 2005 and 2025, so a wonderful time to plan. I'm going to get to that first slide then. There's our team. Like I said, there's all of our emails, and again, it'll be on the last slide so you can find us. It's also on your agendas as well. Why plan, right? Always something that you say to your kids, or at least I did, right? If you don't plan for success, right, how is it ever going to happen? In 2020, your township completed the comprehensive plan, and it was very clear from all of you the things that rose to the top that were important to you. One was the safety of pedestrian connectivity across and through the township. So Simone Collins was lucky enough, and I was lucky enough to do that study that we call the Multimodal Improvement Plan. And you might have seen it. It was completed 2 years ago. So that was an extensive look at pedestrian connections, bicycling connections, problems with connections. Second out of the comprehensive plan was the important things to the quality of life of all of us, right? Recreation and open space. So that's the reason we are attacking this plan and updating where we were in 2005. The two of those plans, as you can imagine, go really well together, don't they? And they will build off of them. The stuff that we're going to look at for your parks and your open spaces are very intricately connected to how you can get there safely, right? So I will probably hear when we break out and hear your comments, you know, I love this, but boy, it's so hard to get to such and such, right? They're very much connected. Planning, why do we do it, right? To plan for the next 15, 20, 25 years for things as important as recreational spaces and open spaces is something that affects every other aspect of township management, right? So just as your supervisors and your managers are planning for everything from trash, right, to sewage, this portion is an important part so that we see how it affects, you know, the whole management of the township. Great time to do it. So these 4 bullet points are probably pretty self-explanatory. We have to see where we are currently. In fact, one of the things we'll do is to see what we said we wanted to do in 2005 and haven't quite gotten around to. What do we still need to do in our current needs? And certainly planning for what we're planning for any growth in the township. We certainly want to have enough space for people who might be coming in to Middletown. Second bullet point, parks, trails, open spaces, certainly create what we all know as our community experience. Toby and I were lucky enough to be part of the holiday party. Boy, was that fun. It was really cold. We thought it was cold, actually, in December. It's not as cold as it's been this week. But boy, I mean, that's, I think, part of being a Middletown resident is so much, you know, tied to the fact that you guys can see and do things together in these spaces. That we want to continue, of course. They're essential green infrastructure that provide physical, spiritual, and health benefits. And one more that I'll add, stormwater, right? That is certainly something we've all seen. Parks can double as wonderful recreation spaces and also places for stormwater management. The last bullet, it makes the community certainly attractive to residents and businesses. So that's certainly kind of the esoteric parts of why we plan. The plan that we are going to give you will give Patrick and Paul a guideline of where the community would like to be in 15 and 20 years. The improvements that we'd all like to see don't magically happen, right? But they can be worked into the plan that the township is going to undertake, right? And their capital improvements. So we want to have that robust. It's not going to get down. What's it not going to be? It's not going to get down to every single little detail of every single park, right? The things that we might offer as recommendations based on all of your input will be conceptual, but certainly give the department and the management of the township the ability to start planning for it and have you refine it, you know, if it's a certain park. So again, we're not looking at the nuts and bolts of every single little park, but certainly based on recommendations. Hey, this is a problem. Is flooding a problem in this park? I can't get to this park. It's too dark. There's no fencing. My kids don't feel safe there. Those are the things that we'd like to hear from you, and that's why it's important to plan. What we don't want to do is repeat anything that people have said previously. So a large part of what we do initially is to take the important planning documents that have previously been done and see what we already know. In the lower or in the middle portion of the row is the comprehensive plan. So 2020, right? Next to it is the climate action plan recently completed by the township. And then right in the middle is the MIP, I call it, the Multimodal Improvement Plan. There have been some plans done for Twin Oaks Park and for Spring Valley Farm, 2020 and 2016, I believe. And the plan that was done 2005, right? So all of the information that both Bucks County and the township has done, we don't want to reinvent the wheel, right? We want to take what was done before and be succinct and be efficient about what we're looking at and really chart the course. The pandemic, I think, is really that nut that really had changed things. And that is where we kind of see how valuable outdoor space has become to people and how important it is to their life. And so, and who even heard of pickleball 6 years ago, right? So there's the trends that are different, the major things that we've seen nationally affect us. So this plan is a wonderful opportunity, and we love being back in Middletown. It was a great experience to do the MIP with all of you, and we really tried to listen. And we want to do the same now. So our presentation is hopefully going to be very short. I'm probably taking too much time, Toby, already. But we're going to break out into 4 sessions for each portion of the quadrants of the township and just listen and write and have you write. But anyway, getting back to it. So I'm going to start with something that's really important to do, which is to define what an open space is, right? We will quantify that as part of this study. It is an area of land and water designated for use as active or passive recreation or for protection because of the natural resources that it contains. So they include certainly all of the parks, agricultural lands, including orchards, natural lands, wetlands, woodlands, untended lands, so even properties that do not look like they have a specific purpose are categorized, as open spaces. Do those open spaces look like they might connect and might be something that the township would like to have some control over so that we can do trails or we can do something? That is what the untended or vacant lands. Connecting greenways, which are those beautiful areas like you have in this township, abutting waterways. Blueways is a fancy way of saying water, something that you can access and use potentially for recreation, and certainly trails. So the importance of open space is that it's permanently preserved so that it goes with the deeds, and the township has control over it through easements or acquiring it. But open space is truly what most people are looking for. The development that has come in all of the areas that we live in, we all need that space to kind of have a breath and take a walk out in nature. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Toby, and we'll talk quickly about the schedule and the scope, and then we'll get to our...
Great. Thank you, Anita. Hello, everyone. I'm Toby Levin, as has been mentioned a few times, and I'm the landscape architect working on this plan today. For our project schedule, we are already 2 committee meetings into our work. We have a steering committee made up of individuals from various bodies within the township that are concerned with open space and parks and recreation. We've met with them twice. This is our first public meeting. There will be 3 additional public meetings. The next one is coming right up at the end of March, on March 20th. And then we'll also meet with the committee 2 more times. And the final public meeting, which will be in August, will be our presentation of the plan at the Board of Supervisors meeting. And are also going to review our scope. As this is the full name of this project is the Comprehensive Parks, Recreation, Open Space, Greenways, and Trails Plan. So obviously our scope is pretty broad. We are reviewing all of the existing conditions of the parks and open space. That includes site reconnaissance, where we went around and visited all of the township's parks, some mapping both of the parks, of the natural resources that exist within the community, including wetlands and waterways. We also are reviewing the township ordinances and the previous plans that Anita mentioned, so that we understand what it is what are the legal frameworks that allow and feed the park system here in Middletown. We're also, as part of this project, developing the purpose, goals, and objectives. We're doing that with the committee and with the staff, as well as with you all here tonight, just to really give direction to what does Middletown want from its parks, and what does it envision its parks to be. We're also, extensive part of this project is the public participation, because we really need to hear from you all what it is that you want from your parks for us to best understand how it is that we can provide recommendations for the township can make this park system the park system that you want it to be. That includes the 4 committee meetings, 4 public meetings. We're doing 15 key person interviews where we talk with members of various organizations that might be interested in the parks. That could be both some township staff members from within parks and public works and other departments of the township. Also, some local hospitals, colleges that might be interested in and invested in the parks, meeting with Neshaminy School District, organizations like that that really are invested in our public spaces. We're also doing a focus group with all of the athletic organizations that are active. This is a really very athletic community, we've learned, so we want to really hear what their needs are. We are also doing a public opinion survey that I'll mention again shortly, and we're meeting extensively with the city staff. The scope continues. We're also making and doing an inventory and analysis of recreation facilities and open space. That includes comparing the facilities here to similar communities in the region, and as well as nationally to national averages of national benchmarks for various recreation facilities. We're also doing stormwater analysis that is Anita's scope in this project, and looking at opportunities for new trail connections and new park space where that's possible. Additionally, we are providing recommendations for personnel, administration, maintenance, programs, and services, and we are making recommendations for park design, including cost estimates, funding strategies, and an implementation matrix. The draft plan will be presented with 30 days of public review, and then we will present the final plan, as I mentioned, at the August supervisors meeting. And now, a great tool that we have made available for you to receive our feedback, and for everyone else, even more importantly, those who are not here, so spread the word, the public opinion survey. It's all online on SurveyMonkey. There are cards by the door where you signed in. If you haven't taken the survey, please pick one of those up that has a QR code you can scan and go right to the survey. Or if you want to distribute that to some people you know are interested in parks but may not be here tonight, please do pick those up. It takes on average a little less than 8 minutes for people to respond. And I looked right before we started the meeting tonight, and we are up to 691 responses already. So we're really pushing to get over 2,000 if we can. There's a little bit of a competition between some of the various communities that we're working on parks planning for right now. And right now, Upper Macungie up in the Lehigh Valley has you beat with about 1,100. So the challenge has been set. And now we're already at next steps, because we really are here to listen to you guys. Our next steps are publicizing that public opinion survey, and we can't do that alone. We need your help as much as possible, so please do get out the word. And we're also going to continue our analysis and mapping of existing conditions here in the township, and continue our review and analysis of administration and programming. Then we will begin the key person interviews. Those will be starting as we head into spring, and we're developing our preliminary concepts that we'll share with you at our next public meeting, which is, as I mentioned, on March 20th. March 20th, same time, same place. After that, we have an additional 2 public meetings after that, and then we'll have 2 committee meetings as well. So that's the schedule coming up. And now we're going to move on into our breakout groups. We've divided up the township into basically four sectors based on geography: the north, central, west, and the southeast, roughly Levittown there. And we're going to ask you at each of the 4 stations, we welcome you to go to whichever station you'd like to first. Maybe you want to go to the station that is where you live, or maybe you want to go to a station that has your favorite park in it. We will do 4 15-minute sessions at the breakout groups. Each one, you can rotate for each one and spend a time at each of the 4 stations, or if there's a station that you really feel passionately about, all of the parks that you care most about are in that at that station, please feel free to stick around at wherever you are most comfortable. We have at the breakout sessions, we will have a representative from our team leading the discussion, but if you would rather just write something on the board, that is perfectly acceptable. You don't have to talk in front of people you don't know if you don't want to. And additionally, for those who have joined online, we don't have a breakout session for the online folks, but we do have a feedback form, which has the same questions that we're talking about here in the room, as well as a map that you can refer to of where the parks are in your township. And we invite everyone who has joined online to provide feedback via that link as well. So with that, I'm going to say thank you again for joining us. Yes?
I guess on a handout that I got from over there, it says public meeting number 2 is March 27th.
Should be March 20th, I believe.
The handout is wrong.
I will make sure to note that. Thank you for catching that. All right, so with that, we're going to end our presentation and we're going to move on to the breakout groups. So please join us at one of the 4 stations throughout the room.